Hi! First of all, this video was made possible by my dear friend Alina, surprising me with something that I didn't realize I needed today to make this video. So, the video today is about Boeing and yes, you heard it. You know these. These you can eat. Like, subscribe and share. So, are the shareholders actually doing this to Boeing? Have they been doing it for a while? I'm saying this because this is happening to Boeing aircraft lately. We have cracks in multiple Boeing aircraft. We have the pig fork in the 737 next generation. So quite a bunch of them need to be inspected and probably need to be fixed. Then we have windshields on the 787 cracking as well. So pilots are really paying attention now to looking outwards instead of looking at the instrumentation, just to make sure that there is not a crack in front of them, because if the window breaks, you're done as a pilot. I mean, the glass, yeah, you have higher pressure in the aircraft, but going at 800 kilometers an hour, I'm not sure if the glass will still go outwards. There's still a chance the glass will come inside and just cut the pilot in pieces. Then we have cracks on the engines of the 787. We have the cargo door of this 777X was during testing. They're not sure yet what it was, why it happened. And then we have even recently a test on the 777X where there was a crack in the fuselage when they were doing the stress test on the wings, bending them, and there was of course the high pressure inside the cabin, and the crack resulted in the door blowing out of the aircraft, where doors normally cannot blow out of an aircraft because they're bigger than the hole that they close, so they're supposed to stay inside, but the crack made it possible for the whole door to come out. So I think I covered all the cracking. Oh no! We also have, this is not really a crack, but the CFM56 on the 737 next generation need a redesign on all 7,000 aircraft in operations of the outer part of the engine to prevent a damage to get uncontained from pieces to actually exit the engine towards the fuselage. And as I described this already in a previous video, I hope they will do it on both sides of the engine, because pieces flying around and dropping on the ground from 10 kilometers high, they definitely kill or destroy whatever they touch. So not just to protect the people in the aircraft, but also the people on the ground. We really would like to be safe out here, especially with 7,000 aircraft flying around and each of them having 2 engines on board. That's 14,000 potential pieces that may drop out of the sky. And I know the Earth is big and it's the first time that this happens, but the testing that they did apparently didn't include this specific problem, and it's not clear what they will do now, if they will just reinforce or will do new testing to make sure that this can never happen again. And I'm making actually this video also today because, not just as a joke, like yeah, everything is cracking at Boeing and falling apart. Obviously not everything, but you get the drift. But They are talking about it's not even sure if they will do again a new test after they reinforce the fuselage on the 777X, the part where it broke, which was around the door that just comes after the wing. I would say absolutely retest it, because you already didn't do all the necessary tests on the engines of the 737. You thought that it was okay, and then so many years later suddenly something happens and hey, we clearly didn't test well enough. And the fuselage cracking, that's not a small issue. And I already saw that Tim Clark from Emirates was already not so happy about this, and he's the main customer. So Boeing better reinforce and retest just to make sure. And yes, it's gonna cost time, and yes, it's gonna cost money, but an airplane cracking open, and then can you imagine this happening in flight at 800 kilometers an hour? It may be more than just a door that comes off. So you really don't want this on your track record, Boeing. You really want to up your game and stop cutting corners, stop saving money, start spending the money there where it's due, not by paying a lot of dividend to your shareholders, keeping them happy by trying to get the stocks up by firing people, raising the pressure on the employees that you still have so they get actually fatigued and start to make mistakes, and accumulation of small mistakes can become one big disaster, as we have seen in all the disasters and all the crashes that happened in the past 50 years. It was always an accumulation of small errors which on their own would not have brought down an aircraft, would not have killed tens or hundreds of people, but it's never just one thing that goes wrong. So safety cannot be the area where you save money. It's simply unacceptable. And if the fucking FAA is not gonna do their job, then EASA should do it and say, you're not flying in Europe. Which basically means half of your customers at least will not buy your aircraft. So I really hope that EASA will do its job and will actually really do its job and start doing the certification themselves and not taking anything from the FAA, and really doing it by themselves 100%. And if that means that Boeing has to do more work because they need to prove separately to EASA that things are safe, and not just Boeing, all the manufacturers, because yes, it's happening to Boeing because they have produced the most aircraft in the world, but Airbus could suffer similar disasters. Embraer could suffer similar disasters. Bombardier, Comac, the Russians, all of them. Certification needs to change, needs to be tighter. It's really time to start thinking about safety and quality and screw the shareholders for once, or put them on a lower priority. And if that means that people don't want to play on the stock exchange with a company like Boeing, then maybe that's what's needed. And if Boeing needs people to gamble with the stocks of Boeing so that Boeing can be valued higher and take more loans, then maybe Boeing should reconsider its strategy. If Boeing can only function when people are gambling and betting on it, then Boeing is really not doing a good job. Or any company who depends on the height of the stocks to be a productive company, to be a successful company. Because if that's what you depend on, then you're not successful. It means you're not producing, you're not having satisfied customers who are paying for the good quality you're delivering. I believe that certain companies should not be privatized and that certain companies should definitely not be on the stock exchange if the stock exchange is not going to change. Because the stock exchange now just became a casino. And people actually start to gamble with other people's lives. And that's unacceptable. If you dislike the video, you do this. If you liked it, thumbs up, share and subscribe. Also, check out my Patreon page. There you can support me and get access to exclusive content. Get more. Check it out in the link below.